Drink Cinema! Cheers.
Welcome to another episode of Two Drink Cinema. We are 2 out of 3 brothers reviewing iconic movies, 2 drinks at a time. Hello, Brett.
How's you, Lisa?
We literally had a conversation before the episode.
No,
about
I wasn't
whether or
talking
not
about that. I was talking about other people.
Doing accents would be racist.
That's not racist.
That's a conversation George Lucas didn't have when it came to the Gungans and Jar Jar Binks. We are
And
reviewing...
other people.
Yeah, we'll come to the Trade Federation shortly.
Oh, okay, thank you.
It is Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace,
Yeah.
that we are watching this week. It is iconic.
Yes, it is.
It's not good, but it's iconic.
It's all right.
Let's have a drink.
It's not the worst Star Wars movie.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
I
Yeah, you're
watched
right.
another one,
Yep.
and it's worse, and the fans will disagree. Look, Lee, I made a layered cocktail.
You did. And you actually did really well.
And it
So,
layered.
Mon, if you're watching and listening, he's ready for a shift.
As
at
you can
Superbia.
see, look, I can't guarantee the taste, but as you can see, there are 3 distinct layers. One is blue.
The viewers can see. There's blue.
There's blue,
Yep.
there's green,
Yep.
and there's red.
Yep.
Because lightsaber battle.
Yes.
And I think I almost did well enough that there's twice as much red.
There is more red than
is more
there is
red.
blue or green. And by the end of the episode, there will definitely be no
green.
Green, thank you.
Or red.
Yes.
So blue. Oh my God.
Blue
That
is
was
at the
definitely
bottom.
on purpose.
I was going to say something about the red, but
I was going to say something about
spoilers
and
and
Obi-Wan Kenobi being a bottom. So
there's a lot of
I think
other Star Wars things to watch.
I'll call it a Duel of the Fates.
Okay.
I believe it has in it. What's this? Strawberry liqueur,
Strawberry liqueur.
blue curacao,
Yep.
lemonade, so it's not all just
Yes.
alcohol. Midori for green, and Qui-Gon gin.
Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yep.
Good.
Now can I mix it?
Yeah, we don't have cocktail mixers. Listeners, if you're listening, which hopefully you are if you're listeners, jump onto the ability to tip.
Because this is just going to taste like strawberry.
It's just going to taste like strawberry lemonade. Got a bunch of pens.
I mean, you know what?
Classy.
And then if you mix it, the color
Da-da.
becomes
Da-da-da.
Jar Jar Binks.
What? Terrible.
Oh my God, the taste. Even off my fingers, it tastes bad. All
This
right,
is
ready?
representative of the dark side entering the movie.
Ooh.
Actually, that happens in episode 2.
It's not good.
It's okay.
It's not good.
I'm not sure
Strawberry's a bad choice.
blue and green work together.
Also, it's just very alcoholic.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Did I put vodka in it?
No, you put Qui-Gon Jinn.
Right.
Yeah.
It's actually not a bad color once you mix it all together.
It's a very dark green. It's
Yeah.
there's some, if you look at it at the right angle, there's some Yoda in there.
I was going to do it. I couldn't be bothered. Look, off you go.
Taglines.
The Force Awakens.
So, no.
The Last Skywalker. No.
Oh, T-shirt. I'm wearing this one because this is the only T-shirt I have that has episode 1 on it.
Oh, okay.
This is from Star Wars Celebration 2019 when they announced episode 9. So this has the whole Skywalker saga on it, from that little kid to the one that's not a Skywalker at the end of it, Rey.
A spoiler! It's called The Rise of the Skywalkers.
Yeah. No, it's called The Rise of Skywalker. There's a thing on the internet.
Mine is Hot Fuzz, because they're also 2 friends that maybe once slept together that go in and save the day.
Okay.
I'm putting it out here now. Obi-Wan Kenobi is a homosexual. And I got convinced because I watched Revenge of the Sith.
He's sassy. There is an article, there's a thing that says all of the Star Wars episodes have the wrong names.
I've seen somebody do a TikTok because while I was watching The Phantom Menace,
Yep.
I was wondering who was the Phantom Menace.
So,
Is Darth Maul the Phantom Menace?
what happens in episode 1? We meet Anakin Skywalker, the rise of Skywalker.
Yep.
Years later, we found out Palpatine, leader of the Sith, has ordered an army to destroy the Jedi,
Attack of
which
the
is
Clones.
Attack of the Clones, but should be Revenge of the Sith. Episode 3, Order 66 happens, and the clones kill all the Jedi.
Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones.
See, I've seen that, so now I know.
Yep. And then,
What about Solo, a Star Wars story? Is that
and
all right?
then add Westpac 4.9% per annum.
That's not too bad.
After the Empire is destroyed, a new Empire comes.
Oh, so A New Hope.
Oh no, I skipped one.
So
in episode 4,
4, yeah.
Obi-Wan teaches Luke that it's time for the Jedi to return.
So Return of the
Return
Jedi.
of the
yeah.
Jedi.
Yeah.
In episode 5, Yoda teaches Luke how to use the Force Awakens. In episode 6, both Yoda and Anakin die, which makes Luke the last Jedi. Even though in the movie The Last Jedi, Luke is the last Jedi until Rey becomes the last Jedi. After the Empire is destroyed at the end of episode 6, a new Empire comes.
New Hope.
The First Order. The Empire Strikes Back should be episode 7.
Oh, 7, sorry.
Yep.
I thought
In
it was
episode
6.
8, Luke trains Rey and then sacrifices himself to give the Resistance a new hope.
But that's what happens in the 4th one.
And finally, this is a spoiler for 9. Are you going to be okay with that?
Wait. Yeah, look, I'll watch them eventually, but they're all the same.
Finally, in episode 9, Palpatine returns from the dead, making him the Phantom Menace.
Oh.
Because this guy Palpatine, who is in episode 1,
Yeah.
turns out to be the big bad of all 9 movies.
Yes, he's the puppet master.
He is the Phantom Menace,
Even
and
the
he has
third
been
one where he's terrible.
in the shadows
Unlimited power.
behind
Sorry, that's from
everything.
Sith.
Anyway, so that's different.
I agree.
Taglines.
Having only seen 7 of the 9, I agree. 7? Pretty sure I've seen one of the new ones. That's the first one. Force Awakens. Rogue One. Solo. I've seen one of those 3.
Did
I've
you see the
definitely
one
seen
with
Solo.
Childish Gambino in it?
I've seen Solo.
Solo. Did you see the one?
I've seen the one where at the end the guy turns around on the cliff and oh my god, it's Luke Skywalker.
What?
When Rey goes to the cliff,
Oh, yeah.
it's like, who could this mysterious hooded man be? It's fucking Mark Hamill.
Oh, yeah, that's Force Awakens.
Okay, I've seen that one.
Yeah.
I haven't
Because
seen the other 2.
in Last Jedi, she tries to convince him to join the Resistance.
Yep, cool. The other, yep, go.
Taglines.
Taglines, good.
So-
Now that we've got an oral history of Star Wars,
And very incomplete oral history of Star Wars. There's 3 that are basically the same. The saga begins spring 1999.
Yep.
The saga begins May 19th.
yep,
And The Force returns May 19th.
I prefer Saga Begins.
Every saga has a beginning is another of the taglines.
They're not great taglines, but then if you're whoever was involved in making the taglines, why would you put that much effort into it? It does not matter what the poster is going to say on it. All you need to know is like, hey, nerds, we're back.
Yep.
Done.
One truth, one hate. I don't get that one. Every generation has a legend. Every journey has a first step. Every saga has a beginning.
No. Somebody's got that tattooed on them.
At last, we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. That's just a line that Palpatine says to Maul.
At last, we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi.
It's not bad.
Thank you.
This one,
I've
was
got
for
some good,
This was
impressions coming
for
up.
the year 2000 North American VHS advertising. One race, one adventure, the one to own.
Now, when they say race,
Yeah. I got a lot of things to say about the pod race within the movie, and we also have things to say about the racism
yes, we do.
in the movie. But let's talk about the story. I've not seen any other movie do a scroll plot like this. And not many movies do so much preloading of this happened before the movie starts.
Oh, previously on Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I can't
some
think.
have-
Sometimes it's like historical, and it's like it's
Gone with the
England's-
Wind has some stuff like that.
Yeah,
Robin Hood, Errol Flynn
yeah.
has stuff like that.
I think the old ones do, and then,
not like
some of the
this.
historical ones are like it is England 1592, and the Spanish Armada are forming to attack.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I think there's a bit of that vibe that he's kind of going for with doing it.
Trolls, don't come for me if those dates are wrong. I just made that up off the top of my head.
They're probably wrong. There's lots of things going to be wrong about this episode for Star Wars fans too. Please come at us. It'll boost us on the algorithm.
Please. I don't care. You're married to one, and I've said
That's
things
true.
to his face.
It's actually his T-shirt that I'm wearing too. He's the one that dragged me to this event, so I'm allowed to borrow his T-shirt for it.
Can I just say, I'm pretty sure I saw Phantom Menace in the cinema at Werribee 10 Cinemas.
You probably would have. Shane has been to the midnight screening of all of the Star Wars that have been released since he was of age.
So
New Hope was New Hope was out just
Sorry,
before
Shane.
he was born.
Yeah.
The other two he was obviously too young for in the early 80s. But him and his best mate went to the prequel trilogy Midnight, and him and his best mate went to the sequel trilogy Midnights, which was all very cool. Story. Overall, the story's a mess.
Yep.
One of my notes says, I'm 51 minutes in and I don't think the stakes are clear. There's an invasion on Naboo. The Trade Federation and Sidious are doing something.
Lee, you pronounced Naboo wrong.
Anakin is important. The pod race is dangerous.
Yep.
Darth Maul is coming to kill the Jedi and the Queen, but we don't know why.
Naboo. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's halfway almost through the movie.
And Keira Knightley's there.
And I don't know what the main thing we're fighting against is.
I got that thing as well. Like, there's too much going on
Yeah.
that it doesn't have one focal point like most of the others do.
Well, I was thinking about A New Hope, and then, there's always the thing, and this was one of the things I said to the nerds when the sequel trilogy came out. I was like...
So, quick question.
Yep.
Sequel trilogy is 7, 8, 9.
Yep.
This is prequel trilogy.
This is prequel trilogy.
Original trilogy.
Original trilogy is 4, 5, 6. So
everybody, we're caught up?
on board with that.
So where does Clone Wars come in?
It comes in...
It's between 1 and 2, but it's a separate thing.
I think it's between 2 and 3.
Yes, it is.
It's between 2 and 3 because the Jedi aren't all killed yet, but the clones exist.
And Grievous is there.
Yep.
Continue.
Rogue One comes between 3 and 4.
I know. I have a list on Letterboxd, which I'm obsessed with.
Solo comes at some point before 4.
It's between 3 and 4. It's between 3.5 and 4.
Yep.
Continue. Should we try to stick to this movie?
Yeah. Well, it is a saga.
It's hard to not... You can't just talk about this and not talk about the others.
Well, because also at no point did Lucas decide that he was going to make a prequel that was also a standalone movie.
Yeah, and at no point... I wonder if at any point during the making of any of these prequels, did somebody have a bad feeling about them?
I don't think at any point in the making of the prequel trilogy did anybody say no to George Lucas. And
cool.
I think that was part of the problem.
I think there's one man in the world that can say no to George Lucas.
Well, there might be two, and I reckon it's Steven Spielberg or George Lucas or John Williams. Yeah. Possibly Mark Hamill, but he's
John
not
Williams
going
said
to.
No to
Well,
George Lucas
there's
before?
well, no, like in terms of like, I want to write the music this way, George.
Oh,
Like that kind
okay,
of no.
yeah.
Not George rings and goes, "Do you want to write a music for me?" And John says no.
Yeah.
It's George going, "I reckon you should have 8 bars of this melody here," and John goes, "I reckon I know what I'm doing." And George goes, "Yeah, okay."
I think I'm going to put like operatic singing in this one. George goes, "I don't think so," and John Williams gets his 5 Oscars and says, "Sit down."
Yeah.
5.
There's a documentary out now on Disney Plus about John Williams. And one of the things that they say, it was in the editing it was in the recording booth for one of Spielberg's movies.
Crystal Skull.
No.
See, I went straight to the worst one.
And
Let's just say E.T.
I think it was E.T.
Okay, cool.
And they said John Williams was really struggling for the music to fit with the movie. And Steven Spielberg said to him, I'm going to turn the movie off. You record your music and I will re-edit the movie to fit your music.
That's how you know you're good.
That's how you know you're good. But like also that is how Steven Spielberg is good.
Yes.
Because he will just go, you're the composer.
Yeah.
Let's make this work.
You know, on Letterboxd,
That you're obsessed with.
you track all your films that you've ever watched. And then I paid to be a subscriber.
Okay.
And then it gives you all these stats.
Yep.
And it goes deep. Like it says, here's the actor you've watched the most. Here's the director you've watched the most.
Spielberg.
Director, yes.
Director. Actor, not James Dean, 'cause he's only got 3 movies. Yep. And I doubt they'd count it each time you watch the same movie.
No.
Actor that you've watched the most. Hanks.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
And
What
then
a surprise. You are the age you are, and the person you've watched the most is Spielberg and Hanks.
And then it has like, it goes deep into like all the crew as well. And so it's like,
oh, who's your favourite best boy?
yeah, it doesn't say that. Key grip doesn't say, it doesn't go that deep. But it says like hair, makeup, cinematographer, all that stuff. Composer,
John Williams.
John Williams. Apparently, I've watched 32 movies where music by John Williams. Because I'm thinking there's at least 7...
Well, you watched 7 Star Wars.
7 Star Wars.
You've watched 5 Indies.
5 Indies. 8 Harry Potters.
E.T.'s.
E.T. Catch Me If You Can.
Yep. Schindler's List.
Schindler's List. We can keep Jaws.
Jaws.
That's probably about it.
There's a lot more. Anyway, let's talk about Star Wars Episode 1 of Phantom Menace.
Music by John Williams.
It's such a shit movie, we don't even want to talk about it. There is too much going on story-wise, right?
And I
it's
think,
not a prequel where he's like, I'm going to make a story. Because obviously, when he was making New Hope, he was like, I'm lucky to get this one financed. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to make this have to have a trilogy or a non-trilogy. So he made that as a standalone movie. We find a kid, and at the end of the movie, the kid destroys the big thing that's going to blow up planets, right? Story can stand alone.
Yeah. Swamp rats.
Yeah.
Yep.
If, Darth Vader shoots off into space as he gets shot, without the Death Star, we could have been left to just believe Darth Vader's lost in space. Not with Chris Robinson.
No.
But lost in space.
Yeah.
Will Robinson. Then... But when he gets to the prequels, he's like, fuck it. You're going to watch every movie I put out.
Yeah.
So he just, I think, uses this movie to set up how fucked the Senate is, to set up how force-heavy
it's more political.
Anakin is, to set up how controlling the Jedi Council is, so that all those things can pay off in movies 2 and 3.
Yes.
Because of that, there's far too much time spent on the pod race.
Yep.
There is far too much Galactic Senate conversation. Not as much as Episode 3, but there's far too much Senate conversation.
Yep.
And the movie then is split in 2 halves. The first half of the movie, Jar Jar Binks, pod race, meeting the Queen, is all like, oh, look at this fucking idiot Gungan who's clumsy and a dickhead. Oh, look at this kid and he's fun and he gets freed as a slave and he does this really cool pod race. And it's like... Now we have to sack the Chancellor.
Oh, yeah, that happens very quickly.
It's just like, oh, look at this funny slapstick idiot who we also bring into the serious half of the movie.
Way too much of a promotion.
Yeah. But it's a movie of 2 halves. One is like...
It's a movie of like 8/8.
Kids are going to watch this fun idiot and the kid drive the racer.
Yep.
But, oh, shit. By the time we get to Episode 3, he needs to go from being a senator to being the evil emperor of the galaxy.
Yeah.
I better put some political shit in the second part of this.
Yeah. I feel that George Lucas wrote a story and then read it all through again and went, fuck, there's no new toys I can make from this. I've got it. Let's make this character... Jar Jar Binks, or let's make a pod race and then let's spend time introducing every single person who is racing in the pod race and their racer.
Including the one that explodes on the starting grid.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, so now he's got all these different toys that he can sell.
That's true. Because
Which is smart.
Well, it is smart.
As a
considering
businessman, smart.
one of the things in the original trilogy is that they didn't give him much money. They didn't pay him much to make the movies.
Yeah.
But he said, all right, I'll take the merch. And that's why he's a multi-billionaire. Because of the merch, not just because of the movies. So he obviously wanted to get some merch out of it. And as you have at home still, the Nintendo 64 Star Wars Episode 1 Pod Racer game.
I can't believe I didn't bring it in.
I have an issue with the pod race. Aside from the fact that
no chance in hell is he winning that.
Aside from the fact that it took 25 minutes of this movie and really didn't add much to the plot.
Other than, yeah, you can take it. I didn't.
He's a good pilot. That does come up a lot.
Yeah.
Right? He has Jedi-like reflexes.
Yeah.
We already know that. He's fucking Darth Vader. We know that going into the movie.
No, that's what annoys me about the prequels.
Well, it's on the poster that's literally outside the studio.
The thing that annoys me about the prequels is that they go, oh, I sense disturbance. That was meant to be Yoda.
Yeah.
That was bad. I apologize.
Apologise to Mr. Miyagi, please.
And then it's almost it's almost like then as an audience you're meant to go, oh, maybe he's Darth Vader. You know who Anakin Skywalker is.
Yeah. And
because he's bad and has a bowl cut, and then somehow his voice develops into James L. Jones.
It's because of the machinery. His voice box gets burnt at the end of it gets burnt.
It's hilarious.
9. 3, thank you.
Anyway, Pod Race, it's good.
Pod Race, too long. Greg Proops is funny. It's funny to hear the guy from Whose Line Is It Anyway as a commentator for the Pod Race.
That's who it was. Thank you.
And even though he's got two heads with two languages, after the race starts, the other head in the other language doesn't say a word.
Doesn't say anything.
But
also, we spend time, the bad guy with 4 hands.
Sebulba.
Oh, and then he blows up.
And then he just sits there and goes, "Rrr."
Yeah.
Like
he doesn't come back. We never
Jesse
see him
and
again.
Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
Does he just like
That's it.
join the Cantina band? What's going on?
He just gets a job tending bar.
I mean, he'd be pretty good at it. He's an asshole, though. That's fine.
I've met plenty of bar people that are assholes. Not at Pride of Our Footscray.
No.
But at plenty of other bars. But as a prequel, it is, yeah. It's in no way attempting to be a standalone movie. The poster has Vader on it. Mm-hmm. Like it's Anakin and the shadow is Darth Vader. Within like the first 2 minutes of the movie, Qui-Gon Jinn says, "Ooh, Obi-Wan." Like he just says a normal sentence. Like if you and I are just having a conversation, I'm not going to go, "Oh yes, Brett."
Yeah.
To make sure that anybody listening knows your name. But we don't get Qui-Gon's name until about 25 minutes into the movie. Yeah. R2-D2 has a little hero moment.
Of course.
So
R2-D2 is the most important character.
Yeah. We get introduced to R2-D2. We get introduced to C-3PO. But also then with some dumb thing of like, what do you mean I'm naked? Ooh.
Oh, there's some bad things where it became comical when it didn't need to. And I understand that throughout the original, the droids are the comic relief.
But they're not the comic relief like the droids in this movie, which is just dumb. When they say, "Oh, I need to go out of the hangar," and the droids goes, Coruscant, that doesn't compute. Wait, you're under arrest. Like, you're droids, you're programmed with knowledge.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be so dumb to just be like, boom.
Yeah.
I also didn't know Keira Knightley was in it until this watch.
How could you not know?
Well, because they're clearly the same person.
You know what's fun? When you know that one's not Natalie Portman and one's Keira Knightley, and then you're trying to work out which is which, but then it's really obvious when there's no makeup on.
When we're watching
that it's Natalie Portman.
When we're watching the movie, are we meant to not know?
First
Like when
watching.
you're first watching,
When
and
you're
meant to
first
not know?
viewing, you're not meant to know it's a double. So you're not meant to know that on Tatooine, that's actually the Queen. It's just her handmaiden. Is that what they called her?
But then they have this big moment of like, oh my God, this child has fallen in love with the Queen when he thought he'd fallen weirdly in love with the handmaiden.
And it's also funny that when you've got a headdress and a makeup on, that you have to talk like a robot.
Well, I think that's a put on so that they can both put it on. So then they can talk normally.
Okay, I'll forgive that. I didn't mind Natalie Portman, I will say.
I think she's pretty good in the trilogy. I don't think the script in 2 and 3 does anyone any favours.
No.
Because Natalie Portman, Samuel L. Jackson, Frank Oz, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Ewan McGregor,
Yeah.
even Hayden Christensen are all good actors. No, outside of this franchise.
Okay. What? I have not seen Hayden Christensen.
He's in Life as a House with Kevin Kline. It's good. It's a little bit indie art housey kind of. Outside of this movie, he's a decent actor, right? But the script in this trilogy does not do anyone any favors.
He's the second Hayden that comes up when I Google Hayden.
Hayden Panettiere?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird.
Okay. What else have I got to say about the story? I just think it's like...
Unrecognizable.
I just think there's too much going on, but I also don't know how I feel about the prequel being unable to be watched standalone. But I guess...
But what
I guess
prequel can you?
No, well, I guess they've become episodes. And if we compare it to like the MCU, which I know we talked about at the start of the month when we were talking about Agatha, you can, to a certain extent, watch MCU movies in isolation.
Until you get to I couldn't flick on Endgame and know what was going on.
No.
But
I
can watch Deadpool.
The ones close to Endgame.
not the
You
same.
can watch Thor. I reckon you can almost watch any of the Thors on their own. A couple of the Captain Americas, a couple of the Iron Mans you can watch on your own. But the Avengers ones you probably can't. But this is a saga, I guess, and it is episodes. So I guess I'm okay with that. I have issues with another issue with the pod race, other than it taking 20 minutes.
I have a lot of issues with Tatooine.
I have issues with races in movies, not ethnic races.
Competition races of cars and
Competitive races, right?
Yeah.
Anakin is quick enough to catch up to Sebulba twice.
Yep.
But he's never quick enough to overtake him.
Yeah, that's where I was lost. I'm like because he caught
up. If
up.
it was a running race, right, and I'm racing against Usain Bolt, right? Mm-hmm. If I catch up to Usain...
Sorry, just let me picture that.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
If I am quick enough to catch up to Usain Bolt...
Yep.
Surely then I'm quick enough to overtake him.
But
also it's not... The pod is not in a human context. Like if I can probably sprint for 20 meters and catch up to someone, not Usain. I can probably sprint and catch up to someone, but then I'm fucked and can't overtake them.
Yes.
But he's not run out of power.
No, and even when he does run out of power, he magically saves it, so it's fine.
He just borrows power from the other side.
The thing about the pod race is that there seems to be no
physics.
Rules.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like there's no rules of modulations on your racer. They're all different sizes, different engines, different things.
Clicky things, different connections, different bits up and down.
Yep.
Forwards. Some of them are driving backwards.
You can blow up your teammate, not your teammate. You can throw a spanner in somebody guy's thing and blow him up. It's fine.
You can go up the ramp.
Yeah.
But
you can get shot by a sans person.
Because it's a mobster planet. The Hutts, whatever. My issue with
it is the Hutts,
if you were fast enough to catch up to Sebulba, why are you not fast enough to overtake him?
Yeah.
Because then I guess we don't get the tension of them getting locked together and then him exploding. But that's also in movies. And now that I've said it, I think people will be like, yeah, that's happens in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
So that's my other issues.
My issue is...
Yep.
When a Tatooinean creature, I don't even know what we're calling them, speaks Tatooine. You know what I mean?
The Gungans.
Yeah,
no, they're on Naboo. Yeah.
They're so, like Sebulba
And
the fly thing.
Yeah. The boss. That definitely is not a dodgy Russian arms dealer.
No. When they speak Tatooine,
Yeah.
great. But then, kid,
Yeah.
Papa Schnooper Tooper Super Slimo. I thought I was playing The Sims, Lee.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell language is this? Was he not born there?
No, he was 3, I think. Remember? Have you lived here long?
He's a slave, Brett. Yeah.
Have you lived here long? He's like, yeah, we moved here when I was 3, I think. The way he says, I think.
I am a person. Okay, great. Are you sure?
The way he adds I think to any sentence is hilarious. I know he's a kid. We can't bag him for being a kid, and he's not Haley Joel Osment. But the way he just goes, and I wrote it in my notes later, he acts better when he's talking to R2 than he does when he's talking to Liam Neeson.
Yeah, when he's talking to a human, he's like intimidated and he can't act. But when he's talking to a green tennis ball, I assume.
When he's talking to the boss, or when he's in the fighter talking to Thinger, other than when
I don't know what this is.
Other than when he goes, wow!
When he goes, left,
Yeah.
right? Whoa! There's far too much exposition in this movie.
Yep.
Even to the point where it's just like, the thing I hate about some of these movies is that, Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan Kenobi are trying to get into wherever they're trying to get into, and they're just shoving their lightsaber through a door.
Yep.
And then destroyers. Okay, we can see them. You don't have to say what they are.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like, oh, wheelie pod things with shields. Oh, they've got shields on. No shit, we can see the shields.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Can we talk? So there's the Gungans.
Yep.
Who are these other ones?
The Trade
that kind
Federation?
of getting okay, Trade Federation.
China.
Racism.
So we have the Gungans, the weirdos from some other part of the planet,
Yeah.
right? They've got some weirdo accent. But if George Lucas ever tells me that the Trade Federation is not China,
Racism.
I will tell him he is a liar to his face. And I know he is George Lucas,
I will say no to you.
but it is the late 90s and the Trade Federation is China, and you cannot convince me that they are not.
And then they're bad. They're like, well, we shouldn't have got in this deal.
Yeah, and then
And now there's two of them.
Then occasionally it's actually a Latin accent.
I can't. I want to say things, but I'm gonna sound racist. I can't say it. We would never do anything without the approval of the Senate. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
No. This one, they're going up the ventilation shaft.
I wrote that, and I wrote it as DEY, gay,
Yeah.
GON,
Yep.
up DE, ventilation shaft.
Yeah, you wrote it how I said it. Now he said it. And
Also, there's
we
all
would
these-
never without the competence of saying it. My God.
It's so
It's
racist.
another apology to Mr. Miyagi. I know that was racist, sorry.
So also on Tatooine, they have all these service droids, and in all parts of the galaxy, universe, whatever we're going to call it.
Yep.
They have all these droids. But go clean up R2-D2, and Padme gets like almost literally just like a face washer and a toothbrush.
No, but the
Just like,
but
I'm
the
like, come on.
handmaiden sends the queen. Why?
Because they're trying to put up this rouge.
No, but also send another handmaiden.
No, but then they don't look the same.
No, but there's 4 handmaidens. If you need your droid cleaned, pick the one that isn't the queen.
That's true. Okay,
Because
I
if
get
then
what you mean.
shit
Yeah,
happens
yeah.
to Keira Knightley and Natalie Portman's not there, because she's off
But
cleaning the droid and flirting with a 9-year-old, then, like, she needs to be there next to Keira Knightley.
Also, are we just assuming that while Natalie Portman was on Tatooine, there were no important diplomatic decisions that needed to be made, and Keira Knightley's sitting there like, I'm not the queen.
don't
I
know.
can't do this.
Yeah, where does her, like, decision-making power end? Could she, while she's pretending to be the queen, just sign a bit of paper that says, I'm the queen now?
Yeah, go give myself a raise. That's what I do.
Yeah, like when Trump gets in and pardons himself.
Yeah. Ooh. This, but we'll know.
Yeah,
We'll know
actually,
by the time this. So it was nice knowing you all.
Sorry about the lack of free speech because we're on the wrong side of the political spectrum.
I also, one main issue I have with casting
Yep.
is Samuel L. Jackson.
He just sits there like when the kid comes, Anakin, he just sits there. He doesn't fit into the universe.
That's what I'm saying.
Because
He
he's
doesn't
just
fit in.
sitting there just like, oh, fuck, another kid.
I feel like it was a favor.
I
Like he
feel
called
like,
George Lucas and was like, I really
no,
like Star Wars.
I think there's a story.
And then he got a purple lightsaber for some reason.
Well, he did get to request the color of his lightsaber.
That's the other question I have for Star Wars fanatics. What determines the color of your lightsaber? Do you get to choose that, or is it like a graduation thing, like, cap and gown, and then you get whatever you graduated in, that's the color
Speaking
you
of
get?
unrecognizable, Jake Lloyd.
He looks the same.
Yeah, he does. Unrecognizable.
Oh, that's what you mean.
Samuel L. Jackson shares the story behind his Star Wars casting. He was friends with George Lucas.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's just that he's made a favor.
The actor discusses his belief in taking on supporting roles and mentions that he sometimes appears uncredited or does favors for directors he admires. Yeah. So he does play Mace Windu, who is a little bit of an iconic character. And but he doesn't fit the universe.
He doesn't fit in
Particularly on
at
the
all.
council, he's just like, oh, fuck, another kid.
You know what I found disturbing about the Force? So, I have to say. So there's a large number of humans. But then during the course of the saga, there's like one Wookiee, one R2.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like they are kind of like master racing themselves.
Representation is not strong.
Bit of tokenism.
Yeah.
And then they invaded. Then they brought in the Gungans, and what the fuck were they thinking?
Oh, just sacrificing the Gungans to everyone.
But
also,
I don't understand.
But also, Natalie Portman basically says to the Gungan jailer that we're just going to use you as fodder and a distraction. So, do you want to sacrifice a whole lot of your people so that I can get back to my throne room? Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, I'm serious. I'm serious. You can tell I'm serious because I'm not the queen, but I am the queen.
I'm in normal people clothes.
That's how you can tell I'm serious.
R2 bring up the map.
A couple of other minor...
I think that Terence Stamp was wearing more eyeliner in this than he was in Priscilla.
Couple of other minor things I had with the movie. The dialogue is pretty clunky. I had a dream. I came back and freed all the slaves.
And did he? No.
No. I have acquired a pod in a game of chance. Shithouse.
When?
Terrible. No, there was no father. I carried him. I raised him. I can't explain it. You don't
Just
need all
say
of that
you were
thing.
raped.
And then he says, I didn't actually come here to free slaves. But the worst line, actually, no, I'm going to save it.
Thank you.
Because we do have a category for it.
Yep.
But we do get a good lightsaber battle at the end.
We get
of
a
it.
very good thing at the end.
Except for those doors that close, unnecessary.
It's meant to build suspense and tension.
Other than to show, it does show the difference between the Sith, Maul walking back and forwards and Qui-Gon just sitting there.
Yeah.
That shows the difference in the Sith and the Jedi if you're a nerd.
No, Lee. What I learnt in the last one is the Sith only speaks in absolutes.
That's true.
And then there was another one. Oh, the Sith is selfish.
Yep.
And the Jedi aren't. I don't believe that.
Yeah, no,
And there can only be two Sith.
But there can be lots of Jedi. Yep. But the Sith are more powerful, generally, even though the Jedis always win.
Yep.
So, the fact that Jar Jar still does a whole lot of slapstick shit during the battle shits me.
Oh, then they're on the planet, and then he's a general now.
Yeah, but also during the war when he like kicks the gun and it shoots them, or he like accidentally pulls down all the big boomers and then it goes into destroying some ships. Stupid.
I will say though, when those racks of droids come out, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. That
And also, I'd be like, "Fuck this."
Yeah, I'm going
outta
back
here.
underwater.
Yeah. What's in it for them?
They have a symbiotic relationship. Surely you see that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, right. When an outsider named Qui-Gon Jinn goes underwater and tells the Gungans about their history and why it's important that they do what he says.
Yes.
Okay, so he wants to colonize them. Not colonize. He wants to leave them there, but just tell them how to live. Okay, well, I think...
And then it ends with the Gungans giving the Naboo a gift.
But then the
Orb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The...
One
my
thing...
best impersonation yet.
Okay, here's something for the nerds. Have you just watched episode 3?
I have just watched it yesterday.
Okay.
It was hilarious.
So, something that I think should annoy the nerds.
Is it 1, 2, 3?
The Darth Maul is here and Obi-Wan is here
Yes.
at the end.
Yeah.
Despite Darth Maul having the high ground,
Yes.
Obi-Wan wins.
I have the high ground, Anakin.
And then 2 movies later, Obi-Wan says to Anakin, you can't possibly win because I have the high ground. How did he beat Darth Maul? Because Darth Maul had arguably the higher ground.
The other question I had about...
That's one for the nerds.
The other question I had about episode 3. Why does he change his name? Like, Emperor Palpatine just goes, you will not be Darth Vader. Okay, well, you could probably still be...
No, it's his Sith name. He's Darth Sidious, Emperor Palpatine, Darth Vader,
okay,
Anakin
cool.
Skywalker.
But why?
Darth Maul, Ken Park. Is the actor that plays Darth Maul. Darth Maul's real name, I don't know. But I tell you what, it did make me want to do kendo lessons again. Just
thought so.
that popped up one more time.
Yeah.
But all of that aside, it's part of one of the biggest, well, arguably the biggest episodic movie saga of all time.
I think it is. Like, you can't...
Saying that the MCU is not an episodic saga.
No, it's just a mess.
Tell me about how it fits into the world of cinema and society.
You know, I was thinking... I don't know if... I was trying to think, I wish I was a bit older at the time, but then I don't, because then I'd be older now. To think that I knew the level of, like, anticipation that it had.
Well, we could have had my husband in to talk about that, because there was significant anticipation in his life.
The film was a box office success. Shocking no one. And it grossed $924 million
That's
in its initial
ton
theatric
of money.
run. So that was the highest grossing film of 1999.
Yep.
Not the highest grossing movie of the 90s, which is hilarious. Anyway.
Well, you had to go up of Titanic.
Yeah, Thing made more money too. That other one, what's it called?
You know the second
Jurassic
highest
Park.
grossing movie of 1999?
No, wait, I can guess.
I mentioned him earlier.
Oh, Sixth Sense.
Yeah. Third, Toy Story 2.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Fourth,
Meet Joe Black.
Austin Powers. Grossed more than The Matrix.
Oh, God, that's hilarious. I went and saw that. We saw both in the cinema.
Big
Austin
Daddy.
Powers 2?
Big Daddy grossed more than The Green Mile.
Well, anyway. Now, according to the Wall Street Journal, Lee, so many people were like, I can't come into work today.
Oh, really?
I'm seeing Star Wars.
Yeah.
Some companies had to close.
They didn't. They needed Bob Hawke
Yeah.
to be like, anyone
who tells their worker not to come in today is a bum.
Yeah. He was definitely a Star Wars fan, Bob Hawke, I know.
I don't know why he sounds like the Penguin.
So highest grossing,
One
of the highest grossing for inflation movies of all time,
probably.
900 million.
It's still up there in terms of Star Wars grossing as well, but not adjusted for inflation. I'm pretty sure the first one would be up there for that.
Yep.
And by the first one, I mean the fourth one.
It's 23rd it's in 23rd place on the all-time adjusted for, not adjusted for inflation, this list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because Star Wars Episode 8, 7, The Force Awakens, was higher grossing than Avengers Endgame. It's probably at a re-release.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have. So
Awards?
It was nominated for 3 Oscars.
Score?
No. Visual effects.
Yeah, I was going to say, whatever they called effects that year.
Sound and sound editing.
Okay.
Back in the day when there were 2 sound categories. BAFTA nominations got 2 for sound and effects. And it got nominated for a Grammy.
For soundtrack?
Yep. It was also nominated for 7 Razzies.
Oh. More than Can't Stop the Music.
Worst Picture. Worst Supporting Actor.
Ewan.
No.
Not the kid.
Jar Jar.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, both of them. Oh. The kid and Jar Jar. The kid's harsh.
The kid's harsh, and the Razzies have come out and said that since.
Worst Supporting Actress, Sophia Coppola. I don't even know who she is in it. I think she's a handmaiden. That's not Keira Knightley.
Okay.
Worst Screenplay.
I googled Sophia Coppola Star Wars, and the first thing that comes up and says Sophia Coppola completely forgot she was in Phantom Menace.
I thought for a bit that she was the mum, but then she wasn't.
Well, that's one of my things that, like, you actually don't hear the name of the mum in the movie.
Yeah, all I had was Aunt Beru. That's not her name, because that's his auntie.
That's the auntie.
Yeah.
But why would you have heard that name? She's not in this movie.
No, because every time I watch anything related to Star Wars, I think of Family Guy.
Okay.
And I think of Chris playing Luke Skywalker, running over to the thing when they're all burnt and dead. And then every time I think it's of whatever character plays Aunt Beru. It's like, you get back here. He's like, I will not. And she's like, oh, over my burnt carcass. It's the funniest bit in the whole thing.
She's credited as Shmi Skywalker, not
in
from
Hook. Okay.
But I don't think I ever heard her name. It's always the boy's mother.
Yeah.
Or your mother.
Yeah. Worst screenplay, worst director, worst screen couple for the kid and the Natalie Portman.
Yeah, awkward.
It inspired games.
Yep.
Merch, toys.
2 more movies. TV series.
Yep. Simpsons referenced it. They take the piss out of Star Wars all the time throughout thing, but as the clone, what are they called? Cosmic Wars.
Oh, okay.
And then they introduce at one stage a character called Jim Jam. And then there's another one where Bart and Principal Skinner fight to Jewel of the Fates.
Oh, yes.
A month after the film's release, Weird Al Yankovic did a parody song.
Oh, yeah.
Called The Saga Begins, in which he interprets the film's plot from Obi-Wan's point of view to the tune of American Pie. It's like, I really want to listen to that
this Anakin guy instead of American Pie.
Oh,
I remember
Anakin guy. Oh, yeah.
And then something, this young Anakin guy. Yeah.
Okay, great. We'll listen to it after.
Yeah.
Over 200 actresses auditioned for Padme.
Was Kira one of them?
No, I don't think so.
She's got handmaiden instead.
She was 14.
Wow, she was the same age as the boy that she's meant to be a lot older than in Love Actually.
So... Oh, I didn't see that coming. So Natalie Portman was 18.
Yep.
And Kira was 14.
And how old was the boy?
Oh, fucking ageless. I don't know. Mr. Harpushunti Mamatura.
You get that. Yeah, I'm only going to be able to see Simlish in it now.
I can't wait till they do a Sims movie. If it's not in Simlish, I'm going to be so disappointed.
There better be subtitles. Did you see the guy's...
No, they shouldn't because he's not in The Sims.
Did you see the guy's Sims costume for Halloween?
No.
It was him naked and he'd stuck the little gem over his head and then he had little pixelated over his bits.
That's funny. I'm going to go as a Halloween party to The Sims once.
Jake Matthew Lloyd was 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
That works out.
Still, she was 18.
Yep. So Ron Howard confirmed that him, Robert Zemeckis, and Steven Spielberg were approached, but turned it down.
Oh God, one of them should have said yes.
I don't think George Lucas is a good director.
No, and even the nerds say he's not a great screenplay writer and he's not a great director, but he is a great story writer, concept universe,
it's great,
and producer guy.
So we agree Samuel L. Jackson doesn't fit. What about Tupac?
Oh gosh, was that just like he wants a black guy?
He was considered for Mace Windu.
Okay, so that's George Lucas just going, I reckon I should have
I think in all my movies I have to have one and only one black person.
In every trilogy.
Yeah.
Has he got one in Indie Trilogy? Don't count Alfred Molina.
That's not
or Jonathan Rhys Davies.
That's Steven Spielberg.
He produced
it. No.
Yeah. Because even the Egyptian is played by a Scotsman.
Benicio del Toro was originally cast as Darth Maul, but then he later left the project when the character's lines were cut.
Yeah, and he realised he couldn't sword fight.
Yeah. I'll say this other one first. Joseph Fiennes, Shakespeare, auditioned for the role of Obi-Wan Kenobi and nearly got it.
Okay.
Until Lucas's young daughter, I don't know why they need to say it that way, rejected him upon meeting him during the second level of auditioning. I don't understand. It's like, was he trying to pick up George Lucas's daughter? And she's like, no. And he's like, well, actually, no, you're not good.
Yeah. He's like, well, if your young daughter is rejecting my advances, I don't want to be in this movie.
Yeah. Odd, right?
Well, she just met him and she was like, Daddy, the vibes are off. Nah. Or I thought you were going to say until his young daughter watched Trainspotting and liked Ewan McGregor.
Well, I think Ewan McGregor's a good younger version of Alec Guinness.
Alec Guinness is nowhere near as sassy. But Alec Guinness has lived in the desert.
Gays get
30
tired
years.
when they're old.
Okay. Like
there was
Scar.
Somebody... Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, Obi-Wan just gives up in the fourth one. He's like,
that's true.
Just kill me, mate.
He's just like, done. Hit me with your lightsaber and I'll become a ghost.
And
that's such an old gay thing to just haunt someone forever.
Pretty much. There was someone else that expressed interest in playing Jar Jar Binks. But they wanted to do it in prosthetic makeup while George Lucas was doing it CGI.
Yeah, because he just bought his first computer.
It was Michael Jackson.
Oh, my days. He is prosthetic makeup anyway, isn't he?
Moving on. I'm going to say that it launched Natalie Portman.
Correct.
Keira Knightley.
Yep.
And Ewan McGregor.
I don't know if it launched Keira Knightley.
I think if it in some way helped her get Bend It Like Beckham, yes. It's her first movie, really.
Yeah.
Bend It Like Beckham was her break.
Bend It Like Beckham launched her.
She looks quite pretty.
All right. So, yeah, Natalie Portman didn't do anything for Jake Lloyd. Didn't do anything for the guy that played Jar Jar, who's a comedian.
If I was the guy who played Jar Jar, I'd be happy that my face was covered.
Although...
And so that then, if you're walking down the street, not everybody's going to know that you're Jar Jar Binks.
And
everybody's going to know that Hayden Christensen was terrible.
But he's a character that's been redeemed. So Hayden Christensen is in the Obi-Wan series that came out last year before, and he's been redeemed by that. Ken Park has a big, like he can go to the conventions. Ken Park.
Oh yeah, you can read one of these things. Sophia Coppola goes. That's how she remembered she was in it. She got an invitation, went, Are they doing Lost in Translation?
She was walking
Colin?
past the convention centre and accidentally people lined up for her autograph.
She saw someone dressed as her and was like, what is going on?
Yeah,
it's a female director's convention. It's just her, Jane Campion, and Greta Gerwig.
And Catherine Bigelow?
Catherine Bigelow.
Yeah.
There's more.
There is more. You're right. Okay, awards.
Can I just start with Best Extra?
Yes, please.
And say that I don't have any nominations.
I considered nominating Keira Knightley.
Just too many lines. But
Just.
Is it her? Or was it Natalie Portman?
No, it was her.
Okay.
Once I worked out it was her, I could tell the difference. I am nominating the crowd at the pod race.
As best.
Yeah, because they're not all just doing this.
Yeah, okay. There are some bad ones as a group.
Refer to Gladiator.
Yeah, as a group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Individuals,
there was one at the end that she was just like...
Yeah, that's true. But in the obligatory look at everyone happy ending, we've got to present something scene. That's at the end of every Star Wars.
I hate it.
There's a couple of kids in the crowd. There's a couple of kids in the crowd that I reckon just forgot they're on a movie set. And they're just having a time, sitting on top of the wall, yelling shit, waving their arms.
So that's good.
I liked them.
All right, we can give it to that.
Okay, there you go, kids. We'll make up for the fact that Jake Lloyd got nominated for a Razzie. That's the Estelle Reiner Best Extra Award. The Andy Millman Worst Extra Award. I have a couple for this.
Same.
I have the guy that sits next to Sebulba when Sebulba jumps Jar Jar. So Jar Jar steals that food to eat. And then the body flicks and lands in Sebulba's soup. Mm-hmm. And then Sebulba jumps up. That guy's like catatonic.
Is it an actual person or is it a CGI creature?
No, it's like a human person.
Right.
And Sebulba's going off because something just landed in his soup and the guy literally the whole time is just...
Yeah, okay.
He's just that the whole time.
You know how you were like Florence Pugh at the end of Midsummer then.
Oh yeah.
No, I've seen it. So you gave Best Extra to kids. I'm going to nominate a kid for Worst Extra. And it's when Anakin,
yes,
who becomes Darth Vader.
I have the same one, I think.
I don't know. So there's a third kid or a fourth kid. So there's creature kid.
Yep.
Dark-skinned kid.
Obligatory ethnic kid.
Yeah. Girl with braces.
Yeah.
Who I reckon is just someone's daughter.
No, Tatooine does not have braces.
Yeah. And then there's fourth kid who just goes, let's play ball. Good luck, Anakin, and walks off.
Or he doesn't go, a peepa chama number to batatu.
I'm practicing my speech to get a charisma point in The Sims.
He doesn't go,
No. Yeah.
Anyway, okay, you nominate that kid that has one line. I'm going to nominate a moment. I'm not sure if it fits in with Worst Extra.
Okay.
When Annie wins...
I have a moment as well, yes.
Creature and
kid.
Token ethnic.
Yeah.
Celebrate.
Yeah. They do a little jig.
They go to high five.
Oh,
no. Goes to high five again. No. Oh, I'm just going to dance then.
Yeah. I also had, during the tension that is the end of the race, going back to the crowd, there are people just walking to their seats now.
Yeah, well, the line to the bar was probably pretty long.
No. Plan yourself. You don't go towards the end of the race.
Yeah, no.
Maybe they thought it was over. But then also before the race, they're getting his pod ready.
Yep.
And Jar Jar's just standing there going, Misa, what? Misa. And then this creature in front of him farts.
Yeah.
That creature. Because that's not a person making a mistake that's bad acting. That is whoever's decision it was,
George.
to write in some sort of
George.
bear horse white thing with
Hippo.
a nose, farting at Jar Jar Binks. He goes, "Oh,
Yeah, that's it.
how
All of that-
old!"
all of that is unnecessary. And I don't like it. There's something actually I just found in my notes. Actually, all right, let's give this worst extra award.
I don't know.
Oh, the other one. The fact that there are, again, maybe this is George, not the extras. The fact that there are Tusken Raiders on the Dune Canyon shooting at them is unnecessary.
Oh, that is fan service.
That is just
100% fan service.
Do not forget that Tatooine is also the planet that Luke comes from.
Worse than that, though, is when a pod goes by and there's that small creature with the hood.
Oh, yeah.
And just goes, "Rrr."
No, and he goes, Udini.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing that the Jawas say. Udini.
Love that you know what it's called. But as a person, if this was the first
been
Star
20 years.
Wars...
It's been 20 years. I know what a jar was called.
First Star Wars that you knew, you're like, what the fuck was that?
Udini.
You're probably giving it an award for worst extra.
Udini.
Also, worst extras, the people on the service ramp.
Yeah, that don't get out of the way.
But they do eventually, but it's like, whoa!
Well, particularly because Greg Proop tells us he's on the service ramp before he goes on the service ramp. Well, I think it's the... Can I actually... So this is tough because it's a kid and it's not up to her.
Can we just do a group of Anakin's friends?
No, I almost want to nominate the kid with braces.
She's pretty bad.
She's bad, but she also shouldn't be in the movie.
I want to know...
who she is.
Yeah, I want to... Because I think it's just like, the art director's kid.
Maybe that's George Lucas's young daughter.
Well, then no wonder Joseph Fiennes didn't get a kick. Jesus. Hayden Christensen's top 4. Star Wars... Oh, he's not in the first one. That's why.
Star Wars 2, 3.
Like, I was going to say
And
Phantom
Obi-Wan.
Menace isn't in his top
No.
4. But then we'll go that, and then we'll go that.
Okay, we can just nominate Annie's friends.
Well, I think they're a group.
Because the creature one doesn't give a high five to the token ethnic one.
Yeah.
The girl has braces.
And the
other
kid's
boy just
bad.
says, let's play ball.
Yeah.
Atuma nama fatakaku.
Cha-cha-cha, matsamanama.
All right, the kids, let's move on. The Halle Berry X-Men Worst Line Award. I'm nominating anything that is said in a Trade Federation accent. I'm nominating the God of the ventilation shaft.
I'm nominating Jar Jar Binks takes them underwater.
Yes.
And then something comes riding on, what is it? I don't know what, a seahorse.
Yeah.
You'll start in big doodle this time.
Yeah. I wrote anything Jar Jar says.
I wrote, anytime Jar Jar says, this is Nazi, because it sounds like Nazi.
Can I nominate then anytime Jar Jar says, how would?
How would? That's his catchphrase, Lee. How roared. That was bad.
I also want to say there's always a bigger fish. It's unnecessary.
I wrote that too, because there isn't always a bigger fish.
And that scene is unnecessary. It doesn't add anything to the story other than the fact that, look, George can now animate fish on a computer.
Yeah, it looks all right. It doesn't look that great. There's always a bigger fish. It inspired that game that I keep seeing ads for, that you have to catch the fish.
I've already said, that doesn't compute. Wait, you're under arrest.
Yeah.
Stupid. Didn't need to be said.
I wrote pod race. And then Qui-Gon Jinn lifts Anakin into the pod racer. And he does that. Anakin goes like, whoa!
Yeah.
Like, that's the most exciting thing he's going to have to do today.
The same whoa as when he spins in the fighter. It's not his first pod race, so he's done more exhilarating things than be lifted up by a Jedi. And not similar, but referring to the fighter, when he goes, now this is pod racing.
Yeah. I think in that same bit,
It's not pod racing.
I think it's in
Anakin.
there. And then it's like he's sitting. Is it that? He's sitting in that ship,
Cockpit.
and he's.
Yep.
I
I don't know the name of that
got
ship.
to stay in the cockpit. I'm gonna stay. That's not the line.
Yeah.
And he's like, "This is tense. You're in a fucking Star War."
Yeah, you're in literally a Star War.
Yeah.
One of the first of the Star Wars.
It's pretty much the first Star War. Actually,
Well, I don't
there's
know,
probably
because there
more.
was the scroll before that, so there are Star Wars before that, and there are now shows coming out pre-episode
Of course. It's like Game of Thrones. There's a prequel to the prequel.
1.
I also wrote Ouch Time, but I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
going to assume that was Jar Jar.
Shit. We've talked about the racism of the accents.
Yeah.
When Qui-Gon says, "Patience, my blue friend," that's unnecessary.
And then somebody says, oh, is this in the third one? I shouldn't have watched them in the same weekend. I think Palpatine calls Yoda my little green friend.
Oh, that's later.
Yeah.
One line by Palpatine, though, "We will watch your career with great interest."
I hate it.
For 9 more movies. 5 more movies.
Will
'cause he
we
dies
get
at the end of
completely cancelled by Star Wars fans if I nominate I Have a Bad Feeling About This?
fan service. It's very fan servicey.
But it's also beyond fan service that now you have to have it in the movie. It's in all of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
At least the newer ones.
It's one of the first things that C3 says in A New Hope.
I know that.
So
He
that's
also
why
says
it's
it in Windows 95 Star Wars chess.
before R2D2 goes, "Wow!" What's the worst one?
Can we just put some sort of clip package together of Jar Jar Binks?
Okay. So my nomination.
Actually, or the trade union.
It's those accents.
So bad.
It's so bad.
I feel like he wrote in the script the actual, words. Sir,
Yeah.
they're going up the ventilation shaft, but then wrote in brackets in offensive accent. Because everything's like that. What makes it worse is that they're not CGI. And they're puppets and their mouths don't move.
Did he do that? Did he write that script and then show them the episodes of Get Smart that have the claw in them?
I think he did.
If you haven't seen the claw from Get Smart, watch it. So Jar Jar or Trade Federation?
Just racism.
Okay. The worst line in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, is the racist accents.
Yep.
Okay.
Because there's a lot.
I can deal with
There's
that.
a lot of bad lines, Lee.
I didn't cry.
Oh.
Which is not surprising. And so then we come on to the most iconic scene, which is the saber battle.
Well, yes. The only other thing it could be is the pod race. But considering all the categories we have, we've nominated something bad from the pod race. We probably should give it to the Duel of the Fates.
It's the best thing about the movie. That music and that saber duel.
And it's also very
best thing
iconic
about
when
the movie.
Darth Maul has his double-ended lightsaber.
Yep.
To be careful. And then he's sassy, and he goes with his hand and just goes and moves something into the door to make it open.
Can I give you something?
That's my favorite bit.
Can I give you something sassy? And I should have texted you about it when it started.
I like the doors.
They're unnecessary, but they're cool. I'm going to give you something sassy, right? And I should have texted you when I watched it so that you saw it when you watched it.
Okay.
The Trade Federation people capture the Queen and her posse
Yep.
when they're trying to get through to the throne room. Then he does this one. He does the Plan 9. Take them away.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sass in this movie.
But does he say take them away?
He doesn't. He just goes...
Or I was going to say, does he say take them away?
He's played by Dudley Manlove with a bad Asian accent.
Stupid.
Anyway, the most iconic scene in the movie is that saber duel and the music Duel of the Fates. That's it about Star Wars Episode 1 of Phantom Menace.
Gosh.
We've talked, this is a long episode. we're an hour and 15, and 15 minutes of it is not even about Star Wars Episode 1.
And 15 minutes of it we have to cut because of racism.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to put a little warning on the front of it. The 2 out of 3 brothers does not endorse the opinions of these podcast hosts.
Oh my
even
God.
though we literally are 2 out of 3 brothers. What's next?
Well, what month is next, Lee?
Oh, Christmas month.
Also, listeners, I'm looking at the list. Can you please suggest more Christmas movies? Because there's not that many on
Brett
there.
doesn't want to watch Love Actually again.
Oh, I took it off.
The Christmas movie that we're watching for Rainbow Popcorn Live at Pride is The Happiest Season, starring Kristen Stewart. And that will be on the 5th of December. So grab your tickets for that if you want. Next week, our episode for our top 5 will be the top 5 bands in movies, which is related to Can't Stop the Music, not The Phantom Menace. So get on to both the socials to nominate for both of those.
Okay, next. Is this a Spielberg movie?
Polar Express.
No.
Yeah.
Although I'll add that to the list.
Polar Express. Now that you've added it to a list and you think you want to watch it. Is it a Spielberg movie? I know,
it's an 80s movie.
Gremlins.
Gremlins.
Yes. It's not, I think.
No, it's not, is it?
No, it's not Spielberg.
Oh, I can't look it up because 6 degrees.
But you love it because it's got shit parents. It's got classic 80s parents and classic, this is rated G.
It's
and
a very good movie from what I remember.
Horror. This is going to
Yeah,
scare
it's
people
actually
more than a Nightmare on
scary.
Elm Street 2 Freddy's Revenge.
Well, like it's because it's not scary.
I could not tell you a cast member of it, though.
That girl.
No.
Is she not the girl that is then in Ferris Bueller?
No.
Really?
I don't think so.
There's an adult in it that's someone.
I
Is she not that Phoebe Cates woman?
don't think so.
Or have I just made that up? Can I look it up?
We're going to have to look this up because really, Gremlins has stuff all else. Shane loves Gremlins. He'll be happy to watch it.
Oh. Where is he? We have a Mogwai somewhere.
We do.
Phoebe Cates. Shove it up, yeah.
Here it is.
Zach Galligan. Oh my gosh, I don't know anybody. Oh, Corey Feldman.
There's Gizmo.
There is Gizmo. Still in the original packaging.
Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman, he's
Zach
the
Galligan,
friend.
Phoebe Cates, Hoyt Axton, Polly Holiday, Francis Lee McCain. Corey Feldman was in The Lost Boys with Kiefer Sutherland, who was in something with Ewan McGregor or something with Natalie Portman.
Corey Feldman was in The Lost Boys, are you saying?
Yes,
Okay.
with Kiefer Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Oh, it was written by
in
Chris Columbus.
Stand By Me. Oh, that's who did he direct it too?
No, directed by Joe Dante.
Oh, of course, Joe Dante.
Yep.
Dante's Peak. Corey Feldman. Lost Boys.
Lost Boys, Kiefer Sutherland.
Stand By Me.
Stand By Me, Jerry O'Connell, River Phoenix.
River Phoenix.
We need to get Ewan McGregor or Liam Neeson
or Natalie Portman.
They're going to open up quite... Samuel L. Jackson
Samuel L. Jackson.
opens up quite a few things. Kiefer Sutherland, what else has he been in? 24. And other movies. Donald Sutherland.
Was he in that other one that's like also the Bryan Adams song?
Robin Hood. Oh, the
No.
Three Musketeers.
No.
Not
Maybe
Robin
it's
Hood,
not
Prince
Bryan.
of
Maybe
Thieves.
it's Bon Jovi then.
Young Guns.
Young Guns.
Christian Slater was in that, I'm sure. Kiefer Sutherland might have been in that.
I don't think we can do this.
I'm sure we can. Samuel L. Jackson.
Surely that Phoebe Cates was in another thing that was like a thing.
Can we go written by Chris Columbus? Because didn't he write Home Alone? Which then gives us Catherine
Which
O'Hara
then
and
gives
John
us
Hurd.
John Williams.
And John Williams. Well, there you go. It's a long bow. Gremlins, thanks to us looking it up, was written by Chris Columbus, who directed Home Alone with music by John Williams.
What else has Joe Dante done?
What else is
Into Inner Space, The Howling, Small Soldiers. Oh, there
Kiefer
you go.
Sutherland done? Kiefer Sutherland has done Designated Survivor, Flatliners, Julia Roberts,
Phoebe Cates, Drop Dead Fred, Fast Times at Ridgemont
A
High.
Few Good Men, Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, Phone Booth, Colin Farrell. The Three Musketeers is Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah.
But who else is in it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Look, that's not our best. Let's not spend too much time on it.
So that hopefully if we move on, people forget how bad it was.
Yep.
I feel like we can do better than that.
We can do better than that.
Someone will tell me Corey Feldman wasn't in The Lost Boys, but he was. Jason
Yeah, he
Patrick,
was.
Sandra Bullock.
Jason Patrick?
Jason Patrick was in Lost Boys.
Oh, does he get us to Speed 2?
Yeah, he gets his Speed 2 cruise control with...
The Goonies?
Yeah, gets us to Short Round.
Which gets us to Harrison Ford.
Which gets
Which
us
gets us to...
Ian McDiarmid.
Yeah.
Which gets us to Phantom Menace.
There you go.
Okay? Done.
Done.
Yeah, well done for keeping track of all of that. Also, Alex Winter from Bill and Ted. Gets us to Keanu
Tubular.
Reeves, who gets us to Sandra
River
Bullock.
Phoenix.
Which we've decided is not a thing either. River Phoenix, which gets us back to
Stand
Kiefer
by me,
Sutherland.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah,
Yep.
which is not what we want.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Two Drink
Can't believe it's Christmas.
Cinema. It's almost Christmas, and so our Christmas movie, as I said, is Happiest Season. I think it's going to be funny.
For Rainbow Popcorn, yeah.
It's a good rom-com for Rainbow Popcorn. It's going to be better than
just-
Single All the Way
I don't
that we
know.
watched last year.
Yep.
Buy your tickets for that. Tell us your top 5 movies with bands in them, and we will be back next week with the top 5 from that. Thank you, Brett.
Thanks, Lee. Cheers. Thanks for listening to Two Drink Cinema. We would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which this podcast was produced and pay our respects to elders past and present.
If you'd like to support the podcast, either leave a tip or become a member for early access to these episodes by using the link in the show notes.
Join the Facebook group for more chat about the movies we review, and make sure you follow us on the socials to keep up to date.
Hit the subscribe button and leave us a review on your podcast app.
Happy viewing and drink responsibly.